Hi there, welcome back to Cuban Slang channel and welcome back to another Cuban Slang lesson. Today I bring you a fascinating video about the main pronunciation features of Cuban accent you gotta know today to understand Cuban accent once and for all. I've been thinking about the content of this video for a long time and I've decided that this is absolutely what you need to know to improve your conversations with your Cuban friends or with local people if you're planning to travel to Cuba. So today we're gonna be talking about replacing sounds and dropping off letters. I'm gonna explain to you every one of these pronunciation features and we're gonna practice them by Cuban real examples that we use in our daily speech. So I invite you to sit down, grab your notebook and your pencil and write down all these main features of Cuban accent so you can improve your understanding of this Spanish accent once and for all. Vamos vaya. Let's get started at once. Okay, the first pronunciation feature of Cuban accent I'm bringing you today is this one. The replacement of the sound with a soft sound. How I'm going to do this? Whenever I have to pronounce an S or a Z before a T, a C, a P, or an M, or even at the end of the word, I'm gonna replace that sound with a J sound. You probably know that the Spanish letter Z is pronounced in the same way as the Spanish letter S in most of the Spanish-speaking countries. For example, sazón, zapatos. For example, instead of estar, I would say estar, hasta, hasta, hasta aquí, desaste, desaste, desaste de eso. Before a C, a P, or an M. Esconder, esconder. Escoger, escoger. Escuchar, escuchar. Esperar, esperar. Suspirar, suspirar. Asma, asma. And at the end of the word, detrás, detrás. Antes, antes. Paz, paz. However, some people actually drop the sound out. So they say detrás, ante, pa. However, if these words are followed by other words or another phrase, the replacement is more evident. For example, detrás de ti, antes de eso. Sometimes the sound is totally reduced when it is at the end of a word. For example, andamos, andamos. ¿Cómo andamos? Zapatos, zapato. Ponte los zapatos y vámonos. Dientes, diente. Lávate bien los dientes. Vamos, vamos. Vamos para allá. Paz, paz. Déjame en paz. Another example of replacement. The Spanish j sound is really soft in Cuban slang. Instead of j, we say j. It's replaced by the e sound. For example, instead of calle, I say calle. Pollo, pollo. Ayuda, ayuda. Tuyo, tuyo. However, when a word that starts with one of these letters is at the beginning of an idea, we do pronounce j instead of e. For example, yo no sé nada, llama a tu amiga, ya basta. But if these ideas are said after a word or a phrase that ends in a vowel, we do pronounce e in a fluent conversation. For example, bueno, yo no sé nada. Escucha, llama a tu amiga y dile que venga. Ay, ya basta. Another feature is very common in Cuban slang to reduce the sound and the letter D when it is at the end of a word. For example, instead of usted, I say usted. Pared, pared. Verdad, verdad. We're talking about the R sound later on in this video. Mitad, mitad. Maldad, maldad. Humedad, humedad. ¿Cómo se llama usted? ¿Cómo se llama usted? Tiene mucha humedad esta pared. Tiene mucha humedad esta pared. Eso es verdad. Eso es verdad. Eso es verdad. The D sound and letter is also reduced in Cuban slang when it is at the syllables ada, ado, ido. For example, instead of exagerado, I say exagerado. Arreglado, arreglado. Malcriada, malcria. Hipnotizada, hipnotizar. Perdido, perdido. Or if I'm a girl, I would say perdida, perdía. Or perdía. Comido, comió. Él es un exagerado. Ay, él es un exagerado. El juego estaba arreglado. El juego estaba arreglado. Esa niña es una malcriada. Esa niña es una malcriada. And the last pronunciation feature of Cuban accent I bring you today is the replacement of the sound r with the sound, and I'm talking about replacing the R with a soft D. And let me tell you that there are a lot of people, even some other Spanish native speakers, that think that Cubans replace this sound with an L sound, which is not bad at all because people from Santiago de Cuba do. However, 98% of Cubans replace this sound with a soft D sound, and I'm gonna try to prove it in this video. Firstly, let's talk about the R sound in Spanish. I would say that we have two levels of pronunciation for this letter in Spanish. Actually, if you ask a Spanish speaker, what's the name of this letter, they're gonna tell you, oh, that's an R. And some others will tell you, that's an R. And there, involved in those names, are actually involved these levels of sound that I'm telling you about. If they say R, they're thinking about the stronger way we pronounce this letter when it is at the beginning of a word. In words like rico, rata, ropa. Also, when it is in a double way in a word, like perro, carro, barril. Some others would say ere, the other name, would define very well the softer pronunciation when it is in the middle of two vowels. For example, mentira, lámpara, guajira. Also, when it comes before a consonant. Acuérdate, importante, verdad. Or when it is at the end of a word. Tener, comer, dormir, cocinar. Firstly, let's try to see the difference between the R sound and the sound. How they are actually produced in our mouth. Let's see. In the case of the R sound, the tip of your tongue rises to where the roof of your mouth begins and vibrates there, making the entire tongue vibrate. In the case of the O sound, the tip of your tongue is also where the roof of your mouth begins, but in this case, doesn't vibrate. Rather tries to push the roof of your mouth for a moment, and there is where the sound is produced. Have you realized how different are these two sounds? The problem is that when Cubans are speaking, they're obviously speaking really fast. That's why I say that we replace R sound with a very soft D sound. Now let's see how we actually have to pronounce the D sound to try to understand how this replacement takes in place. So if I want to pronounce the D correctly, half of my tongue is gonna be flat and close to the roof of my mouth, and just behind the upper teeth, the sound is gonna be produced. D. However, if I want to pronounce it really quickly and fluently, as I always speak, the tip of my tongue will rise just where the roof of my mouth begins, a little further behind the upper teeth, not half of my tongue, only the tip of my tongue. So instead of saying D, I would say D. And I will replace the R sound with the D sound when it is before a T or a D. For example, instead of importante, I would say importante, not importante, importante, right? Importado, importado. Acuérdate, acuérdate. Verdad, verdad. Esto es importante, esto es importante. Todo es importado, todo es importado. Acuérdate de avisarme qué día vas a hacer la fiesta. Acuérdate de avisarme qué día vas a hacer la fiesta. And also, at the end of a word, instead of trabajar, I say trabajar. Comer, comer. Dormir, dormir. Yeah, it's a little fast, that mouth movement. For example, el día se resume en trabajar, comer y dormir. El día se resume en trabajar, comer y dormir. That's all for today's video. Thank you so much for watching this video up to the very end. Let me know, did you learn something new? Did you like this video? I really hope it was really helpful for you. I really hope you have enjoyed it, because I've been enjoyed a lot preparing this video for you. See you very soon in my next video. Bye bye!